Hello everyone. Quickly before we get into this video, for those of you that may have noticed, my last video has been taken off of YouTube and I've got a copyright strike. This is due to one of the Guardian's interns not entirely knowing what fair use is, but unfortunately to get the copyright strike off and to get the video back up on YouTube, I'd have to give the Guardian personal details of mine, and I absolutely do not trust them with them. But that was it, quick update, so now we'll get right into the video. After the bad news that I just went through yesterday, I also saw this on Twitter, and it made my day oh so much worse. So here's Boris's speech from yesterday. Please try and hold back the tears.
In England, from Monday, we're introducing the rule of 6. You must not meet socially in groups of more than 6, and if you do, you will be breaking the law.
God bless this country and everyone in it. If you are meeting up with people and there's more than 6 of you about, you can expect to get arrested and presumably fined, because presumably the virus has got a bit more potent and is spreading like wildfire. Well, that's what you'd assume anyway. Let's continue.
This will apply in any setting, indoors or outdoors, at home or in the pub.
So much for freedom of association, eh?
The ban will set out in law and it will be enforced by the police. And anyone breaking the rules risks being dispersed, fined and possibly arrested.
You get caught as a group of 7, or you owe the UK government some money. They better have a damn good reason for this. I hope he gets into the reasoning for it.
There will be some limited exemptions. COVID-secure venues like places of worship, gyms, restaurants, hospitality venues can still hold more than 6 in total. Within those venues, however, there must not be individual groups larger than 6, and groups must not mix socially or form larger groups.
So you're safe within a pub or a restaurant. There can be an unlimited number of people as long as these groups of 6 are more than 2 meters apart. Why exactly the rules are like this, I cannot be sure, but I do hope that Bojo gives us an explanation.
As we found on previous occasions, this rule of 6 will of course throw up difficult cases. For example, 2 whole households will no longer be able to meet if they would together exceed the limit of 6 people.
See, this doesn't make much sense to me, because if one person from either household did have COVID-19, you've probably spread it between those 2 households. So what difference would it make if only, say, 2 people from a household go to visit family, if those 2 people are then just going to spread it back within that household? But to be honest, not a lot of this is seeming to make any sense, and they are just kind of going with the wind on this one.
And I'm sorry about that, and I wish that we did not have to take this step.
Well, please tell me why you have to take this step.
But as your Prime Minister, I must do what is necessary to stop the spread of the virus and to save lives.
Gotta be honest, not very detailed that. Let's see if I can find any more explanation as to exactly why the government have chosen these policies. So I think a good place to start is this Times article, Put Away the Picnic, Police Get Through with Coronavirus Rule Breakers, where it basically starts by saying the same thing as the Prime Minister just said about the rule of 6. But this article goes further when it comes to government policy with this new lockdown. Firstly, they have an explanation of the COVID marshals. Local authorities will be able to enlist COVID-secure marshals to ensure social distancing in towns and city centres, Mr Johnson said. The officers will be tasked with making sure that people keep a safe distance in public spaces after fears of overcrowding on high streets at the weekends. Ministers are due to set out more details of the role, but unlike police, they are not expected to have the power to issue on-the-spot fines. So this sounds like government-backed Karens. They don't actually have any official law enforcement power, but they will be there to basically say to people, oh, you're standing a bit too close there, Sonny Jim. I mean, this sounds ridiculous. I want a bit more detail. What are they getting paid? Well, according to Martin Daubeny, who is the journalist and former MEP for the Brexit Party, I believe, according to him, the COVID marshals will be paid £30,000 a year, the same as a Band 4 nurse or teacher, and that's more money than I make. They will be given a high-vis vest, a badge, and next to no training. There will be parking wardens on a power trip. We have turned into an overnight tin pot dictatorship, a nation of grasses. Shameful. Now, obviously, those last two sentences were his opinion, but I do tend to agree. We do now basically have paid Karens in the United Kingdom, £30,000 a year from either the councils or the central government. I'm not sure which is paying them. Now, obviously, just for now, they appear to be people on the street, you know, as I said before, to split people up for being too close to one another. Now, which way this will go, I do not know. Whether they will get more power to issue on-the-spot fines, or whether they will slowly dissipate away as the COVID issue goes away as well. Though I don't want to get into too many spoilers, I can't see the latter one happening for quite some time. But we'll just focus on the policy for now. It looks like universities will be ordered to keep students within the university's halls of residence in cities to avoid spreading the coronavirus around the country should there be an outbreak in a particular city. Makes sense to me, to be honest. Compared with the other bullshit here, that's actually not too bad. And it also looks like schools are to be remained open as the pupil age demographic appear to be low infection at the moment, but it will be looked at again should that start to rise. Again, some of the more sensible policy. But I think the oddest part of this article is the section on Christmas. Apparently, Mr. Johnson said it was too early to say whether things will be back to normal by Christmas, amid fears that large family celebrations will be impossible. The Prime Minister said he was hopeful of at least a partial return to normality by the end of the year, but it rested on the success of his Moonshot Plan to make mass saliva testing available. I mean, from the sounds of it, it sounds like the holiday that is better than Halloween will not be going forward this year, at least in a normal sense, like every other year. But apparently it all depends on this Moonshot Plan, which according to the Times, the Moonshot Plan, which is being piloted in the north of England next month, involves people taking a daily pregnancy-style coronavirus test that returns results within minutes. Those who have negative results will have a kind of passport, a freedom to mingle with everyone else who is similarly not infectious in the way that is currently impossible, Mr. Johnson said. So this Moonshot Plan is another policy by the government that essentially gives you a freedom license. You stick a swab or whatever in your mouth, put it in your little test or whatever it is, and I guess if the litmus test comes back negative, then you are free to roam the streets of Britain once again. Again, I can understand how a global pandemic can be dangerous, but without going too much into spoiler territory, we seem to be past the worst of it. Yet these are the policies that I'd expect in a zombie apocalypse. But unfortunately, this second lockdown seems popular with the public. According to YouGov, 62% of Britons from all age ranges are either strongly or in slight support of this second lockdown, whereas 29% are opposed to it. And it appears that the youngest are most opposed to it, though they are still in the majority for it, and it steadily gets more popular to support this lockdown than oppose it as you get older. Though that does make more sense, because this specifically was a poll about the 10 PM and 5 AM curfew to curb infections, which is something that wasn't even mentioned in either the article or the PM speech. We have a curfew now in Britain from Monday. You are not allowed outside your house after 10 PM and before 5 AM. We are literally being treated like children by the government, and that is something that this channel has been actively against for 2 years now. And it doesn't help also that the general public's general opinion on how coronavirus is going in Britain prior to these announcements is that things are getting worse. 54% of the British public think that the coronavirus situation in Britain is getting worse. And I think I'm with Superhands on this one, as he said famously in Peep Show, the public voted for Hitler, and like Coldplay, you can't trust the public. So let's have a look at some statistics to do with the coronavirus in Great Britain. The number of positive cases detected has risen from 12.5 per 100,000 to 19.7 per 100,000 Britons in the past week. The uptick suggests the national R number is now above 1, meaning the virus is spreading exponentially. The number of infections in Britain has risen particularly among young people aged between 20 and 29. Hey, I'm in that bracket. With 42 cases per 100,000 people. Ministers fear an increase in the number of deaths from the virus as older people catch it from their children and grandchildren. Well, my argument back is usually, isn't that up to the particular families to worry about that? I can understand the part about not wanting to exponentially have the virus spreading, though this is a far sight different from the original plan from the government to have herd immunity, which, by the way, we should have a pretty good case for by now, given that we have gone way past peak. And this is confirmed by the government's own statistics. at least when it comes to those hospitalised and those who died of COVID-19. As we can see from the hospitalisation statistics, there's only 843 patients currently in hospitals as of the 2nd of September, and this has come down from what is quite clear to see on screen, quite a big spike from about 20,000 patients. And as we can see from the total daily deaths relating to the coronavirus, there's only about 8 a day and it fluctuates between double and single digits. We appear to be past the pandemic to the point where it is a danger. And if we take a look at the graph for the total number of deaths in Britain, it appears that the clear spike that came up in deaths over the course of the coronavirus seems to have completely gone away. We appear to be at normal death rates for the UK. So when it comes to the danger of coronavirus, again, from the stats that I've shown you here, we seem to be completely past it. The one thing that the government seems to be going off is this particular graph. Yes, it appears that the number of tests that are coming back positive is rising. Now, this doesn't mean people have the symptoms, this doesn't mean people are being hospitalised, and this doesn't mean people are dying, as we can clearly see from the previous graphs. So given that we appear to have flattened the curve on everything that is basically important for the general health of the country, I personally can't see an incredibly good reason to bring about these new lockdown policies. And to me, it makes the Tory party look completely incompetent. I can guarantee you that unless something radically changes in the way they have conducted these policies, I probably won't be voting for them again, and I probably won't vote for anyone, as quite frankly, I do not like any party in Britain at the moment. The person counting my vote will see a lovely little schoolboy penis on my ballot. And I'm afraid to say that, Tories, you may be defunding the BBC, and Boris Johnson may be trying to support Rule Britannia being sung at the proms, but it's not enough. These are basic cultural parts of Britain that are generally just popular with most of the people now. You don't appear to want to govern adequately, you appear to be chasing very cheap votes at the expense of your economy, and that is a government I simply cannot consent to, so enjoy losing my vote, along with many others that I know. You may have been popular with Brexit, but I want to see how you try and handle and keep those northern votes that you managed to gain last time. But anyway, that's everything I had for you today. So, as usual, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.